Would you know it, it's another sunny, beautiful night in Oxford, Mississippi. It seems like they're always that way in Oxford. We're at Swayze Field, top 20 matchup, second-ranked Vanderbilt, 18th-ranked Ole Miss, all coming your way in a matter of moments. You can expect another full house inside this magnificent ballpark. And a pleasant good evening, everybody. I'm Dave Neal. The other half of that screen is my partner, Kyle Peterson, three-time All-American at Stanford, of course, big league pitcher. KP, let's start with Vanderbilt, right? Here's a team that's been kind of nipping at the heels at least the last month, trying to get that number one spot away from Arkansas, but they're hanging tough. But when you look at the East or division race, they're in second place. What do you make of Vanderbilt as we get closer to postseason play?
Well, they're really good. I mean, it looks like a team that could go win a national championship. Everybody knows about Kumar Rocker, who we'll see tonight, and Jack Leiter, the 1-2 punch. They will get Leiter back this weekend. But well, it's a Vanderbilt team that I think offensively has figured themselves out over the course of this season. Tim Corbin has a lineup that he's been going with consistently right now, and they sit just a half game behind Tennessee going into this weekend. Huge weekend for Tennessee hosting Arkansas. Opened the season great, won 5 of the last 7 SEC series, won the only 2 games against Alabama last weekend. Last game was rained out, and this will be the last time that they go on the road until they go to Hoover. And it looks like the postseason will run through Nashville yet again.
Meanwhile, for this Ole Miss team, they sit in the 3-hole in the SEC West race. Now, their record looks pretty solid, 14-10 in conference play, but it's really been a Jekyll and Hyde type of season for them in conference play.
Yeah, they opened the season great. I mean, they go on the road. They beat TCU, Texas Tech, and Texas. 2 of those teams potentially are national seeds. They sweep their first 2 SEC series, and now they've lost 5 out of their last 6. And to your point, you're not really sure exactly who they're going to be. Who they're not going to be this weekend is a rotation that has Gunnar Hoagland in it. And this one was hard to see. I can't imagine what it was like for Gunnar himself, but he'll have Tommy John surgery next weekend after coming out of the game against Texas A&M last week. Really, between him and Doug Nikhazy, it was dual aces. Hoagland was that good over the course of the season, projected to be a top 10 pick in the draft, but we'll have Tommy John next week. So now you got Doug Nikhazy pushing into a role that he's pretty darn comfortable in, too. He can pitch Friday, he can pitch Saturday. They really are both aces, but Nikhazy will be that guy that Ole Miss is going to need to lean on for the balance of the season. 58 1/3 innings this season. He's punched out 84.
He's been good. I mean, those 84 strikeouts have been sensational. He's 6th in the conference at ERA, 6th in opponent's batting average, 8th in strikeouts, 3rd in hits allowed, and he will get the ball as Ole Miss goes with the red jerseys tonight. A little switch up. Usually wear those blue jerseys on a Friday night, but maybe it's because Doug Nikhazy has been their Saturday guy, and he comes to Friday and brings the red jersey with him. And the first man he faces is Enrique Bradfield, who might be one of the toughest outs in the Southeastern Conference. The freshman is putting on some kind of show. He is 5th in the conference in batting average, 2nd in on-base percentage, leads the country in stolen bases. This from a true freshman from South Florida. That's in there for a strike. It's 0-2.
Yeah, we'll talk plenty about Bradfield tonight. Plays a great center field, too, but has maybe changed the approach of Tim Corbin as far as freshmen and letting them steal the bases. When you're 38 of 41, that'll tend to happen right there. But when he is on the base pass, you always have to know exactly where he is.
90 miles an hour up in the zone. Now 1-2 on Enrique Bradfield Jr. .358 average, 1 home run. That one's down and away.
Vandy slider misses right there for Nikhazy. Dave, that fastball will be 88 to 92. Curveball, and you'll know the difference between the curveball and the slider when you see it. The curveball is that big top-to-bottom break. The slider is what we've seen a few times already. And a change-up back behind it. Nikhazy with the ability to throw for him.
Got him at the knees. Called strike 3.
Well, that's something that we haven't seen a lot this year out of Bradfield. He's walked more than he struck out. That just his 27th strikeout of the season. But Nikhazy just dots a fastball right at the bottom part of the zone. First out of the game is a strikeout.
So here's a look at that Vanderbilt batting lineup tonight. As you see, they are 2nd in the conference in batting average at .298. trailing only the team they're playing tonight. Well, this is an offensive show. Both these teams among the league leaders in numerous categories. Vandy, up until a couple of weeks ago, was actually leading the SEC in team batting average, but Ole Miss has stayed consistent. And during that 3-game skid by Vanderbilt about a week ago is when some of those numbers dipped down. Here's a guy, Carter Young, their shortstop, who has been an offensive machine, has brought some power to the plate with those 13 home runs, 5th in the conference in that department. Now,
there was that curveball that we've seen from Nikhazy. Back to Carter Young, Dave, too. The power has obviously been there. There's been a fair amount of swing and miss. I mean, 60 strikeouts this year for Carter Young. But you'll take that if he's going to hit you 13 home runs, 9 of 9 on the year in stolen bases, and you're starting shortstop. It is one of the top shortstops in the draft class next year.
2-2 the count. I was just about to say, he's kind of big league ready, right? A lot of strikeouts, a lot of home runs.
That's right. You got to take stolen bases out of there. I don't see enough of that at the big league level.
That one is barreled as Young slips out of the batter's box, but right to T.J. McCants. Barely moved, out number 2. There is Tim Corbin, 19th year at Vanderbilt. Of course, trying to get back to the College World Series and pick up a 3rd championship. And KP mentioned earlier, they are defending champs from 2019. Still hoisting that trophy high above. Can't take it away from them. Also defending SEC tournament champs. Also defending SEC regular season champs. That's had a pretty good run by Vanderbilt a couple of years ago as Dominic Keegan steps in. Well, here's another guy that's just been an incredible offensive player for the Commodores. 354 average on the year, 9 home runs, and 38 runs batted in, 12 doubles to his credit. And he looks at a strike.
And they're a different offense when he is in there. Missed a few weeks with COVID protocols, and now back hitting right in the middle of this lineup for Vanderbilt. And there's some length to this lineup, too. You got Jason Gonzalez hitting 9th. He's hitting .302 with 6 home runs. That's your 9-hole hitter. They can hurt you in a lot of different ways.
That ball is smashed out to left. First base hit. And Dominic Keegan continues his hot tear.
Yeah, they were trying to get the fastball in on Keegan's hands, and the first time they did, just missed with it. That time, trying to go back to the same place, it just catches a little bit too much of the plate. Keegan gets ahead of the bat out. First hit of the game is a single to left here with 2 outs in the first.
So here's the full hole hitter. I'll get that out. How am I doing right now?
Got boy.
Jack Bolger, the DH at 278 on the year, bringing 4 home runs for the youngster in that 4-hole. And it must be nice hitting with Dominic Keegan on base as he slaps that one out to right, but it'll be right to Hayden Leatherwood, and that'll be the inning. So the single by Dominic Keegan goes for naught, and the Rebels grabbing their bats as we head to the bottom of the first. Well, I think we're all quite familiar with number 80, big Kumar rocker, 6'5", 245. The 21-year-old is 11-1 on the year. First in wins, first in strikeouts, first in innings pitched. It has just been a crazy year. 110 strikeouts, just 24 walks. KP, it has been some kind of season. Don't see many like this.
No, I mean, you just kind of pick your superlative with Rocker, and it's been that way since he stepped on campus. Most outstanding player in the College World Series as a freshman, now as junior. He's gotten even better, Dave. The fastball is going to be in the mid-90s. You could see some 96s and 97s. The slider is the best slider in the entire country, and he's added a cutter this year. And the cutter is one that he can steal some strikes with. He can get it off of the barrel. We'll see if he goes to the changeup a little bit more tonight. 6 of the 9 in this Ole Miss lineup from the left side, so you may see a few more changeups tonight from Rocker than we will generally see.
This is a really strong offensive lineup for Ole Miss. First 7 guys all hitting over 300. And led by Jacob Gonzalez at the top of the lineup. Second in the conference in hits. Third in runs scored. Not bad for a freshman shortstop, as he looks at 93 in there for a strike. And those 7 home runs, I think, is what's caught some folks by surprise.
That's a pretty exciting player right here. You got a freshman shortstop, and Ole Miss has had some great shortstops and some great 2- and 3-year runs at shortstop. They're thinking Gonzalez the same, and his first look at Kumar Rocker, I don't know that he's going to want to remember. Fastball, then 2 straight breaking balls, 3 pitches in. Rocker has his first strikeout. Last weekend in the first 2 innings, he punched out 7. So the ability to come out of the gates hot is not an issue for Rocker.
He struck out 4 as you look at this lineup. Gonzalez, Chatinier, Graham, Dunhurst, that top 4, so powerful. Bench has been really good as well. But back to Rocker for a minute. He struck out 4 batters in that first inning on 13 pitches. Now, one of those got away on a strikeout to drop third safe batter, which is why he struck out 4. But how about 13 pitches and 4 strikeouts in 1 inning? That one is 92 inside, 1-1. The count to the 2-hole hitter. Peyton Chatinier leads the team in doubles. Glad to have him back healthy. Fighting some hamstring issues early this year. '93 popped him up, middle of the infield. Colwick has it. That'll be 2 down. Speaking of injuries, Colwick, a guy that missed a bunch of time with an injury, but he's back. Took him a little while to kind of shake off the rust, but Tim Corbin telling us he's starting to feel pretty good about his second baseman.
I think he's got the lineup that he wants. He has a defensive setup that he wants. He has a lineup that he wants now that everybody's healthy.
Kevin Graham, maybe an underrated hitter in the Southeastern Conference this year. Underrated by those who don't follow the Ole Miss program on a daily basis. But, 10 homers on a .346 average with 43 runs batted in. The young man has reached base in 41 straight games. But yet not much attention waved in his direction.
I would agree with you, and there should be more of it. He doesn't strike out a whole lot. Those 10 home runs are tops on this active Ole Miss roster right now, or at least among starters. That looked like a pretty good one there. Fastball that I maybe missed inside, but now a 3-0 count for Graham, and I think you turn him loose right here, see if he can hunt a fastball.
Probably not going to get a better pitch than that one at 92 over the heart. But now it's 3-1. They'll shift the defense. And there is a walk. Doesn't matter. So the streak continues. It's now at 42 consecutive games. That'll take us to the 4-hole hitter, Hayden Dunhurst, who has been really good behind the plate, been very solid at the plate. The Ole Miss backstop at 308, 5 homers and 34 runs batted in. Leads the team in walks. That one scoots away from Rodriguez, but nothing happened as Graham will stay at first.
5 spot for Tennessee in the first against Arkansas and Patrick Wicklander today. They're up 5-2 now, the bottom of the second in Knoxville.
putting up a 5 spot on Wicklander, who really, since he got back in the rotation, has been just lights out. At the knees, 1 and 2. Lifted in the air, in the gap, but a running catch out in left field by Cooper Davis will end the inning. So much like Vanderbilt, Ole Miss will leave a runner on a walk. Well, Vanderbilt, the number 2 ranked team in the country, of course, held down that spot for a while early this season. Part of the reason is they're pretty successful on both sides of the plate. You look at their offense, 11th in the nation in hits, but their pitching is just nuts to me when you think about they're not even giving up 6 hits every game.
Yeah, that usually means they're not going to score a lot of runs, and that's the way that it's been against this Vanderbilt pitching staff the entire season. Jack Leiter missed a turn last weekend. He is back in there. How about this? A combined 138 1/3 innings between Leiter and Rocker this year. They've given up 70 hits.
That's crazy when you start to break down the numbers between those two guys, the combined strikeout totals to walk totals. It's just absurd. And, we see Nikhazy here pitching to C.J. Rodriguez to start the second. But, it was great news. Maybe not for Ole Miss. Might be the only people that didn't want to see it happen. But, weren't sure about where Jack Leiter was as Rodriguez hits that one foul in terms of was he going to be able to be part of this rotation this weekend? And yesterday it came out that we will see Jack Leiter tomorrow night, game 2 of this series, kind of shut him down for a week. Just wanted to make sure he was all good heading into the weekend. So, with Gunnar Hoagland going out, just horrible news when guys, anybody really, but guys that are having such great years, and certainly wish Gunnar well and his recovery from Tommy John. But great to see Jack Leiter back in the rotation for tomorrow for Vanderbilt.
Yeah, the feedback from Vanderbilt and some of it was just the data. The data that was coming back on Leiter's fastball for a few weeks looked a little bit different. Maybe the extension wasn't there, the carry on the fastball wasn't there, and they wanted to see that come back before they put him back into the weekend rotation through a bullpen this week. They like what they saw, and that'll be the telltale sign tomorrow, because when that fastball is on, it is the best fastball in the country for me.
Rodriguez, a chopper out to Gonzalez, right at the letters, goes across the diamond. That'll be out number 1.
We got 2 shortstops that have a chance to play in the big leagues in this ball game, and Jacob Gonzalez is one of them. True freshman, has been the starting shortstop since he showed up on campus. And that time takes the high hopper, throws it on the run to get Rodriguez for the first out here in the second.
So now Isaiah Thomas, the junior out of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, hitting .328, 8 homers, 24 runs batted in, tied for first on the team with 5 triples. He was a little banged up. Didn't play in that Alabama series, that 2-game series. Had a little minor hand injury that happened against their Louisville Cardinals in their midweek game. But nothing too serious. And he's back in his usual spot out in right field.
He is dynamic, too. He doesn't walk a whole lot, just 6 walks over the course of the season compared to 41 strikeouts. But it is real juice, man. When he gets it, it'll go a long ways.
Nikhazy now ahead 1-2. Doug got a strikeout of Bradfield, then got a fly out, a single, and then a fly out back in the first inning. Breaking ball, that one's hit foul. Nikhazy wasn't at his best last weekend against Texas A&M, but yet I think showed what kind of pitcher he is. The first couple of innings, couldn't really land a breaking ball, walked a couple of guys, hit a batter. He doesn't do that. That's not in his repertoire. He is a strike thrower, strikeout king. But once he got through that third inning, you could tell he kind of found it and went on to just deal and picks up a win against Texas A&M.
To your point, when he finds it, I mean, he can stroll through 7 or 8 innings really quick. Because Nikhazy has put away stuff, but he's also okay if you're putting it in play early. Control has been great. That time just missed with a slider down and in.
That one's down in the dirt. Matter of fact, there was one point early in the game last week. You know how you see it in young kids, really, when they miss the curveball, they kind of do that. They do the motion right after they miss it, like over the top. I got to get on top of it. You know how they do the arm?
Yeah.
Well, he did that a few times. It reminded me of like little leaguers, and you could tell. I mean, he was just trying to find the slot, find that spot. Oh. Dunhurst was ready to sling it down to third and start the around the horn. Instead, it's a walk.
Yeah, it missed just a little bit up right here. Watch Dunhurst let it travel, too. He's trying to wait as long as he possibly can and makes the good decision to hold on to that one and not let it go and throw it down to third base. Probably starts a little bit of a discussion, and that's fine. It did look like it maybe missed a little bit up. Definitely caught enough of the plate. First walk of the game for Vanderbilt. It's a one-out walk to Thomas.
And for Nikhazy, that's just his 23rd walk in 59 innings of work. Tate Colwick, the junior out of Memphis, Tennessee. Talked a little bit about him getting healthy again. And just really solidifies that infield at second base. Gonzalez at third, Young, Colwick at second, Dominic Keegan over at first base. That's a pretty solid group, and can't forget Rodriguez behind the plate. That would miss his 1-1. Colwick does have some pop now. He's hit 5 home runs. Making his 27th start of the year as Vanderbilt's playing their 46th game of 2019.
Now they think he is back, and the aftermath of the hamate injury has gone on. That's just a pain management thing when guys come back.
That ball's hit high in the air out into shallow left. Who's going to make the play? The left fielder, Kevin Graham, says he has it. Gonzalez gets out of the way, and that will be out number 2. And here comes Cooper Davis. The senior out of Ontario, Canada. He is not hitting .019. I can promise you that. He's hitting .250 on the year. 1 homer and 13 runs batted in. He's making his 31st start of the year. Seems like it was eons ago that he broke his nose in the first at-bat of the year against Wright State.
Yeah, one of the strangest foul balls that you will ever see. Straight foul ball, straight off the bat into his nose. The cage now off, just using that flap that goes across the helmet.
Throw back to first. Cale Baker stands over there. Hard to miss old Cale. Long hair. That is some kind of flow. Reminiscent of a young Kyle Peterson. As a runner goes. Throw not in time. And that'll be a stolen base for Isaiah Thomas, and he remains perfect on the year, 9 out of 9. And Dunhurst leads the SEC in throwing out runners, whether it's caught stealing or picking them off. He's done that 15 times this year, so big stolen base for Thomas.
I didn't have this one, but I had earlier in the at-bat, was checking just to see how quick Nikhazy was to home plate. He was like a 1.7 to home plate, so 1.7 seconds to get it into Dunhurst's glove. There's not a lot a catcher can do if it's taken that much time, especially when Thomas gets a decent jump, because he can really run.
The 0-1 slapped right off a bench. It'll stay in the infield, so everybody will be safe, first and third. That was a little bullet hit right to the third baseman bench.
That's one, if you're the third baseman, Justin Bench, you're not really expecting this one. That's a backside ground ball from a left-handed hitter, 2 hops, and a good job of just keeping that ball on the infield. Plays it right off his chest. Doesn't make the play, but if that gets into left, Thomas is going to score the first run of the game. Instead, Bench keeps it close enough to where he's got to stay at third.
I couldn't tell if that caught a little bit of that lip on the grass to the infield dirt, because that second hop was a really sharp hop. They're going to score to hit. And now here is the 9-hole hitter, Jason Gonzalez. One of the better 9-hole hitters you will find in college baseball. The senior out of California, hitting .302 this year with 6 homers and 30 runs batted in.
First time through the lineup, how intentional Nikhazy has been about throwing that fastball in on the hands of right-handed hitters. I mean, the biggest fastball we've seen today has been 91, 92 miles an hour, but still, the ability to throw it glove side, crowd right-handers to where they have to respect that fastball in will create more room away for Nikhazy as this game goes on.
0-2 on Gonzalez. That one's up. Everybody stays right where they are. Wow, the old fake to third, and there went Cooper Davis. He didn't hesitate. Now he's at second base. Don't see that every day.
No, you don't, and a good job by Nikhazy right there, too, because there's a lot of times, especially if you're running in the face of a left-hander, you see a guy balk right there because you see the move that Davis was making towards second base. He immediately stepped off, looked Thomas back to third base.
And then waved. I love he waved like, yeah, go ahead, take second base. I don't care. I love that look.
As he steps off, I think it was one to where Davis was running and just went on first move right there. And Nikhazy maybe recognized it, or the lead was a little bit bigger, didn't want to pick just in case it takes long enough that Thomas tries to score from third base. I think you'll take the outcome for both sides right there.
Doesn't matter. Nikhazy, an emotional strikeout. Vandy will leave runners at second and third.
How about this reaction? Second strikeout of the day. Elevates the fastball, goes up right there, gets Gonzalez swinging, and a fist pump on the way out for Nikhazy. Scoreless through the first 2 innings for the left-hander. Ole Miss coming up in the second.
You look at some of the Ole Miss numbers offensively. Coach Mike Bianco saying it's just been a really consistent group. And how about this? This is nuts. Justin Bench is leading off the inning, the 5-hole hitter. He leads the SEC and is 5th in the country in hit by pitches. He is now at number 20.
Nobody else above 7 on the entire club, and that there wasn't anywhere to go right there. First pitch fastball from Kumar Rocker that just sailed up and in. It's the 4th guy that he's hit this year.
I mean, does the kid have a bullseye on him? I mean, that's crazy to be hit that many times at the plate. And that one, I mean, it wasn't like he was leaning into anything. It was, what are you supposed to do kind of thing.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go there. Ole Miss, not a team that runs a lot, but when they do run, Bench is usually in the middle of it. 12 of 14 on the year in stolen bases.
Amongst the starters, he's doubled up the next closest guy, and he's at the plate right now, and the freshman T.J. McCants, who had an 11-game hit streak snapped. this week. He also had reached base 26 consecutive games. That was snapped on Tuesday, but the freshman has been all that and then some this year. 336 average. How about the combination of Gonzalez and McCants?
Yeah, both true freshmen. Both true freshmen. There are some superstar freshmen in this league right now. Enrique Bradfield Jr. on the other side. McCants, a converted infielder who now is out in center field. And they love the progression that he's made when he's out there. I mean, probably still feels more comfortable on the infield, but for the team to operate best, he fits best in center field.
Rocker one-hops that up there. Is that a changeup? What was that?
No, it was a breaking ball. It was just a 58-footer, and there's nothing that C.J. Rodriguez can do. The tough thing for a catcher, I mean, one, watch out. I mean, this one hits in front of home plate. It almost hit the grass. But for Rodriguez on that breaking ball, it's spinning so hard top to bottom that it's really going to pop up when it hits. It's one that Rocker just didn't like the grip, held on to a little bit too long. His 10th wild pitch of the season.
McCants, 91 miles an hour, hammers that out to right. It is gone! Home run for the freshman.
Miss this environment, partner. Fastball elevated, McCants goes out and gets it. This is an exciting young player right here, and just enough out to right center field. All you have to see is that. You knew that something good just happened to right field. 2-run home run off the bat of McCants, and Ole Miss strikes first.
5th home run allowed by Kumar Rocker, and Ole Miss leads it 2-0. Well, you had your 11-game hit streak snapped and your 26-game on-base streak snapped on Tuesday. That's kind of a nice way to get it started again.
I would say so. 5th home run of the season for the freshman.
Hayden Leatherwood now. Leatherwood fouls that back. It's 1-2. Leatherwood's been really good is the best way to say it in conference games. 389 average against SEC pitching. That's 4th best number in the conference. 315 overall for the senior. Big swing and a miss. He'll go down on strikes. And that'll be the first out of the inning.
And Rocker goes back to the slider right there when he gets ahead. So gets in a 2-strike count. That's what you'll see him finish guys with. More times than not, whether it's right-handers or left-handers. The other thing, too, first pitch changeup. And that at bat to Leatherwood. So we'll see if Rocker starts throwing that a little bit more to this left-handed heavy lineup.
Here comes Cale Baker, the first baseman, hitting in the 8th spot in this Rebel lineup. Cale, 260 hitter on this year. 3 homers and 22 runs batted in. He had a broken hamate bone as well this year. Missed 3 weeks of action. There's Coach Bianco now in his 21st season at Ole Miss. Just picked up his 800th win at Ole Miss, his 900th overall. 901 was on Tuesday night. We were talking to him last week during that Texas A&M series, and as he says, 21 years. We're asking, just can you believe it's 21 years at Ole Miss? He says, Dave, I'll be honest, man. It's just like we get up every day. How can we make this team better? What is the season going to be like? You don't think of it in big picture terms. But since we've hit this number, I look back, and it's just crazy to think that I've been here in this community that he loves so much. His family, of course, grew up in this community, and It's just, he says, I've been lucky. I've been lucky to be in a place that's great for my family. It's a great baseball community. So 21 years. Because
in this league.
Yeah.
In this league, because that just doesn't happen anymore. I mean, it's not, you don't see college baseball coaches dismissed like college football and college basketball coaches, but in the SEC, it is different. And you make it 10 years in this league. That is a big-time accomplishment. He's made it 2 decades. Joe Baker didn't like that one. It looked like a backup cutter right there. Jeremy Dupree, the home plate umpire. Rocker, both strikes in that at-bat leading up to this had been cutter. He tries to go back to the cutter, misses his spot. He got bailed out right there. Back-to-back strikeouts after the 2-run home run by McCants.
Well, Coach Bianco needs to be careful. Had to sit out a game during the midweek. He was arguing balls and strikes at Texas A&M in their series finale. Got tossed from that game. It was the second time he was ejected this year, so had to sit for one game, and said it was crazy having to watch the game from the locker room. Couldn't be around the team and pregame stuff. And I think you learn a lesson about getting tossed, right? Don't do it.
I guess.
High in the air, out to left. This will be caught by Davis. That'll end the inning. But a big shot off the bat of the freshman, T.J. McCants.
5th home run of the season for the freshman, and we got water, I'm sure, flying up in the air in right field. Ole Miss strikes first. They're up 2-0.
Sure. Top of the 3rd inning, Ole Miss with a 2-run homer to give them this advantage. Here in just an absolutely picture-perfect evening for some college baseball. Of course, school's out, so not a ton of students. Not the normal. I would say this. There are a lot of students, but not as many as you might normally see on a Friday night. Doug Nikhazy working into the 3rd inning, and he will face the top of the lineup, Enrique Bradfield Jr., who he got caught looking to start this game. And he looks at another strike. That's 4 straight strikes. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
It seems to be the side of the plate that Nikhazy's more comfortable throwing that fastball. Just sticks the 0-1 fastball on the outside part of the plate. Now you can go to a lot of places. Elevate the fastball, bounce the breaking ball.
KP was interesting talking to Corbs. Again, we've talked to him so much this year, but every time we talk to him, we learn something new, right? And just talking about Bradfield, he said, he's just a lead dog. Knows he belongs, doesn't need quick recovery mentally, meaning that things don't bother him, which is unique in some circumstances for young guys who haven't been in this type of environment before. I just thought those were just some great comments to kind of explain why he's been so successful this year.
And he's a freshman. He's a freshman at the top of this lineup playing a premier defensive position, and he's leading the country in stolen bases. And he's been arguably better within the league. His SEC numbers, he's sitting about 370 in the league. So as the level of competition has gone up, Bradfield's gone right along with it.
Staring down a 1-2 pitch from Nikhazy. And it's a good one. Well, KP, earlier today was announced the 20 potential regional host sites. We'll list them, first of all, 1 through 10, just kind of alphabetically. What do you make of this group right here?
Well, I think the one that's going to jump out to most people is the Zags, aside from Ole Miss at the bottom just because of the game we're doing. But Gonzaga went on the road, took 2 out of 3 from TCU. Mark McTough's club has had a really, really good season. So the Zags with a chance. Remember, 20 potential host sites. Of those 20, 16 will actually host. But wasn't a lock that Ole Miss was going to be in this 20. Losing 5 out of the last 6, but I think deservedly so. They are. I don't like the fact that they did it now. From an NCAA standpoint, I think it's an oversight. I think you should have waited at least 2 weeks and potentially, if you could, go all the way up to it. Here's the second 10. The Ducks Pitt, who's playing NC State tonight. South Carolina was maybe a surprise to some the way South Carolina's looked the last few weeks. Hey, look at that one in the middle there. We got the Cardinal back in there, Dave.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for you to kind of emphasize that.
Yeah.
But congrats. It's I know Sanford was playing well when the season was cut short a year ago. But good to see the Cardinal back in the mix.
They were so young last year. Got a bunch of guys back this year. Tennessee right in the mix. That Tennessee-Arkansas game now 5-4 Vols. Arkansas 2 in the second, 2 in the third to bring it back to a one-run game.
Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts as Carter Young goes down swinging. That is strikeout number 4.
I love watching Nikhazy pitch because of the variety he can show you. You cannot sit on anything. That is the curveball that we talked about earlier. Low 70s, more top to bottom. He can show you the slider in on the hands. He's had the ability to locate the fastball, can throw the changeup, but you really have to be ready for any of the 4 at any point. Back-to-back strikeouts, now 4 in the game for Nikhazy.
And if you go back to the second, he struck out 3 straight Commodores. And now he gets Dominic Keegan, who singled his first time up against Doug. Ole Miss staff struck out 19 on Wednesday against Arkansas Little Rock. This Ole Miss staff as a whole, they're second in the country in strikeouts per 9 innings. They average almost 12 strikeouts a game. That'll be another strikeout for Mr. Nikhazy. I'd say that's a pretty impressive inning.
Give a 2-run lead. He comes back and says thank you with 3 straight strikeouts. Now 5 in the game for Nikhazy. Bradfield, Young, Keegan, 1, 2, 3 in the Vandy order. All go down there in the third.
Nothing like a night of baseball here at Swayze Field in Oxford, Mississippi. The Rebels leading it 2-0 over second-ranked Vanderbilt on a 2-run homer off the bat of T.J. McCant's last inning. It'll be the top of the lineup for the Rebels: Gonzalez, Chatinier, and Graham. Gonzalez went down on 3 pitches, first time up against Kumar Rocker. See if he learned anything at this at-bat. So he moved to the bottom of the third. First pitch swinging to the right side. Colwick scoops, fires one down. Well, Thursday night, right here. Excuse me, that'll be Saturday right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. It'll be the final day of the SEC Outdoor Track and Field Championships at Texas A&M. All the top runners, jumpers, and throwers battle in the finals for individual titles and team titles. It'll be worth your viewing time. Many of those that you will see in that event will participate in the upcoming Olympic Games, as the SEC just sends athlete after athlete into the Olympics. Chatinier 0 for 1. 12 doubles this season, the most on this Ole Miss team. Ole Miss as a group, 85 doubles on the year. That's 4th in the conference. Tennessee leads the way with 103 doubles. Boy, big swing and a miss.
Wow. Right on right changeup and a 2-1 count. That tells you all you need to know about the confidence level in that pitch tonight, because it's not one that Rocker throws a lot, especially to right-handers, especially in a 2-1 count. He had a really good one right there. Chatinier swung right over the top.
Swing and a miss on that breaking ball, and That was a nasty little slider from Kumar. 2 down.
Yeah, this is the addition this year for him, Dave. He's gone to the cutter. It's got that slider action, but it'll be 86, 87, 88 miles an hour. Didn't really throw this until this season. It just gives him another option than that big breaking curveball. Change up, then a cutter to Shotgay to get another strikeout.
Yeah, that ball has some unique action on it. At 87 miles an hour, that's a dangerous pitch. You know, it's funny. You see that shift to the right side of the infield, and I'll ask you again. That ball is touched. I don't think there's any chance it stays in the yard. Time for a shower. Number 11 for Kevin Graham. KP, I think you just said shift this.
That's the way it sounded, and Nikhazy's into it again. Ole Miss is hunting fastballs today now. Both home runs have been on the fastballs. McCants 2-run home run in the second. Now Graham, elevated fastball right here, and this ball is pummeled. Watch where this ends up. They start turning around to watch it bounce. No doubter off the bat of Graham. His 11th of the season extends the Ole Miss lead.
Here's Dunhurst. You know, Ole Miss as a team now with 2 home runs, that's 59 on the year, but they came in 9th in the conference, and that's kind of a number you don't expect to see from the Rebels. Usually they're more up in the top 4 area in terms of home runs, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that Elko hasn't been there. You know, he could give them 6, 7 more home runs by now, which would put them certainly in that elite area of the top 4 in this league. But that home run went 417 feet. It was 108 miles off the bat. Underhand scoop. Rocker just does get there in front of Dunhurst. But that'll do it. Another long ball by the Rebels makes it 3-0. Well, it'll be here before you know it. May 25th, it all gets underway from Hoover, Alabama. These are the teams that have clinched SEC tournament berths to this point. Arkansas and Tennessee squaring off as we speak. Tied for the top spot. Vanderbilt a half game behind those guys. Mississippi State at 16-8. Doug Nikhazy working here in the top of the 4th. Starts this inning off with an outstanding breaking ball to Jack Bolger. It'll be 4, 5, and 6 for the Commodores. You know, we were talking last inning about the 2 home runs allowed by Kumar Rocker tonight, giving him 6 home runs allowed on the year. And we were just talking to Jack Leiter, who's going to pitch tomorrow. He's given up 9 home runs out of 28 hits allowed. That's
aside from
crazy.
those 9 home runs, he's given up 1 extra base hit the balance of the season. 1 double. 1 double, no triples, 9 home runs for Leiter this year. But I think what we've seen, and I think it's the approach that you'll see against Leiter tomorrow from Ole Miss, is we're sitting fastball. And if you had the ability to throw the off speed over enough to get us, so be it. But we are going to hunt fastballs, and that's what they've done tonight.
Nikhazy with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, foul back, 1-2 the count. But you know,
those are the 2 hits tonight. It's just the 2 home runs.
Well, you know, it's interesting. We were talking to Corbs about the home run ball, and he says, you know what, pitchers, even big leaguers, they get spooked when you start giving up home run balls. That one's hit a mile in the air. Gonzalez makes the catch. That'll be one out. Hey, Thursday night right here on the SEC Network. How about number 1 Arkansas hosting 9th-ranked Florida, the first of a 3-game series coming your way. We'll have all 3 of those games that weekend. Should be an outstanding series. It all starts Thursday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time.
That's my first time having the Hogs this year. I have not had Arkansas. I feel like I've had about everybody else in this league, but have not had the number 1 team in the country who now trails Tennessee 4th inning, still 5-4 Vols.
Well, I've had them a few times, and I will say this. They're a fun team to watch. Especially when they get to Kevin Kopps out of the bullpen. I mean, it's just sick what that guy's doing.
We're going to have some Pitcher of the Year discussion on SEC Now later on tonight. He is right in the middle of that discussion. Mr. Kopps is. So are both the starters tonight.
Nikhazy working in game 1. Gunnar Hoagland, our normal Friday night guy, out with elbow injury, done for the year. We'll have Tommy John surgery on the 18th of May. And certainly a draft year, but Gunnar Hoagland, I mean, just has a spectacular season on the mound.
He did. I mean, I think it's realistic that he drops a little in that first round, but I'd be shocked if Hoagland gets out of the first round, even with that Tommy John. We saw it a few years ago with JT Ginn. Ginn gets hurt, has Tommy John. Mets still take him early, and the value is still there. You know you're not going to get him back for a year, but the body of work from what they saw from Hoagland this year, that's why he was being discussed as a potential top 10 overall pick.
96 strikeouts on the year for Hoagland, and it was shut down. And, you know, obviously, you look at his numbers. I mean, just some kind of spectacular season. And, look, he came in with a bullseye, right? He came to college.
Yeah.
He turned down big money, first-round pick. And credit to him because, I mean, there's not a lot of room for error to go from a late first-round pick, sandwich-type guy, to a top 10 guy. But that's what he did. Here's the walk to Rodriguez. But, man, what a blow to Ole Miss in general, right? I mean, losing a guy like that right before the postseason changes the dynamic of your rotation. Now you got to rely on guys like Derek Diamond now and Drew McDaniel to step up and pick up that slack.
I mean, go back 3 weeks before the Elko injury. You've got Tim Elko, who's having an unbelievable offensive year. You got one of the best offenses in the entire country. And you got 2 real aces. And since then, one of those aces will now be on the shelf the rest of the year, and Elko tears his ACL. I mean, it is 2 massive hits to this Ole Miss team.
And they had a guy at the back end of that bullpen, too, in Broadway, who could close out games for. I mean, they seem to have kind of the setup, right, to make a deep run from a staff standpoint. And obviously we know what their offense is doing. Oh, that's just a good breaking ball from Nikhazy. 0-2. Tell you what, the conversations, Nikhazy and Dunhurst, they've been talking all game to each other. They have Dunhurst behind the plate is the biggest cheerleader going for his pitcher. Check swing, did he go? Yes, he did.
You saw another reaction right there from Dunhurst, too. Bounces the breaking ball, trusts his catcher to just keep it right in front. It's blocked perfectly. Seen fist pumps from both the pitcher and the catcher tonight. Nikhazy a few innings ago. Now he gets one from his catcher, Hayden Dunhurst. You said that in the break an inning or so ago, just about how active these two have been going back and forth, and I've really noticed it since. There is a lot of trust in Hayden Dunhurst by Doug Nikhazy on the mound. He's not worried about bouncing that breaking ball.
That one's low and away. Colwick, his first time up. Flew out to left field. Ground ball sharply hit through the left side. That'll put 2 Commodores on base with 2 down. That'll take us to Cooper Davis, the left fielder who singled and stole a base his first time up. Third hit of the game for the Commodores. Good pitch. 0-1.
Slider right there from Nikhazy. He uses that one kind of like Kumar Rocker uses the cutter. Can steal a first pitch strike with it. Doesn't have the top to bottom break that the curveball does. Probably not going to go to it quite as much in swing and miss counts, but you can definitely steal a strike or two with it.
You know, it's fun to watch the guy throw at 98 miles an hour, right? Because you just don't see that very often. But it's also fun to watch a guy pitch like Nikhazy, who throws his fastball 88 to 90 miles an hour.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just utilize all 4 of his pitches. Throw him whatever he wants to. So now you can go 2 different ways. We've elevated eye level right there with the fastball. So started him with the slider, then 2 straight fastballs. That one fouled off by Cooper Davis. You can come back to that big loop and break a ball if you want. See if you can get the swing and miss. With slider. With slider and maybe tried to overthrow it a little bit right there.
Fouled that one off. Cooper Davis will get another hack at it. Call, strike 3, inning is over. Here's a look at some of the numbers for the Vanderbilt Commodores on the road this year. They've been very good, 4-1 in weekend series, and they've won 6 of 11 against those ranked opponents, and averaging almost 8 runs a game on the road are the Commodores. They've won 3 straight after losing 3 straight, their longest losing streak of the year, obviously. They lost to Florida on the road a couple of weeks ago. Kumar Rocker's given up 2 hits, but both of them have left the yard, and that is a foul ball. Justin Bench, the third baseman. Coach Bianco telling us yesterday he's really been kind of a glue guy that just kind of shows up, gets his work done, and makes the plays you want him to make.
You know, it was interesting. I think it was really telling. He's like, you know, I do a lot of these calls, and there's not that many people that ask about Justin Bench. But he's really important to what happens on this team. The position that he plays, where he hits in the lineup. So next time, Dave, you better ask about Justin Bench. Okay, when we're on the next call, I want that to be the first thing that you ask. That time rolls over on a breaking ball. Bench grounds out for the first out. The freshman T.J. McCants got the Rebels on the board. 2-run home run, his 5th of the season, just snuck over the 365 sign. That his first at bat against Rocker today. That was against a fastball. Both home runs today for Ole Miss have come off of the fastball.
28 runs batted in now for McCants. That one just misses him, 94 miles an hour. Swing and a miss, 1-1.
He's back with a changeup right there. See if he doubles up. I haven't seen him double up with that pitch today. Go back-to-back changeups in the same spot, but had McCants looking for the fastball.
No chance.
Come on now. That's got to be on his own. I mean, there's no way you're going to call a bunt when a guy's up, especially after hitting the seats last time. I'm a fan of this kid now. I mean, 5th home run of the season, gets brushed back with a first pitch fastball, then just lays down a perfect bunt on a breaking ball. So it's a little bit easier to deaden it. The ball's already moving down on his own. McCants puts it in a perfect spot. 2-run home run, bunt single for McCants in his first 2 at-bats against Rocker today. He might pick 4 times in a row. Just because you're fired up on the mound and you want to make the guy slide 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, so from a pitcher standpoint, I mean, is that just something that lights the candle for you? I mean, guy goes yard on you, and then he comes back and lays down a bunt.
Yeah, and it's just it doesn't really make any sense. Why that should make you mad? It makes you mad because he just got you. That's why.
Right,
I mean, he just got you and went deep. He hits one 375 feet, and the next time up he bunts it 7 feet.
Throw down is not in time, and then he steals second base. That is number 7 for McCants.
So one thing with Rocker, he is not quick to home plate, and this one not an easy one for C.J. Rodriguez to throw down and in. He's got to reach all the way across his body to catch it, then make the transfer. McCants now 7 of 7 on the year in stolen bases. Not a bad day for the freshman. 2-run home run, bunt single, steal second base.
Right over the top of that one swings Hayden Leatherwood. He struck out his first time. Rocker does have 4 strikeouts today. Kumar hasn't gone past the 5th inning in each of his last 2 starts. You go back 3 starts, he threw a complete game. 9-inning affair, but 5 innings and 5 innings his last 2 times out on the bump. And you know, the days of Nolan Ryan or even Roger Clemens, these fastball guys that would throw 130 pitches a game and they just seem like they were – that just doesn't happen. And it's not going to happen. It won't happen. Why do you think that those days are gone? I mean, Kumar's a big, strong kid, like we just talked to Nolan Ryan and Roger Clemens of the world. And those guys pitch forever.
I mean, why aren't we seeing guys go as deep into the game or throw as many complete games?
Well, both. You know, number of pitch. You put a pitch count on it. Is one of the reasons they're not throwing enough innings. But you know, I'm using 2 guys that are Hall of Famers, obviously. But
yeah.
But still, it makes you wonder, like, what changed now that you throw 130 pitches and people want to, you know, start complaining through too many pitches. But those guys seem to do it on a pretty regular basis. Maybe not 130, but, you know, over 100 on a regular basis.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's just there's more injuries now than there used to be. Some of that is just because more guys are throwing harder. So you're putting more stress on your body.
There's a chopper. Out to second. Colwick Good strong throw. They will get the out. That'll be out number 2, but McCants will wind up at third base. I don't know. I just thought that, I started thinking, right, these power pitchers back in the day would throw a bunch of pitches. I remember, heck, Jack Leiter's dad. Now this is high school, and this is a different time. In a high school game, and I wish I knew the exact number, but he threw over 200 pitches. He threw a 16-inning game in high school one time.
Who, Al did?
Al Leiter did.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He had a pretty fruitful career.
Yeah, it worked out okay.
Yeah. Swing and a miss to Cale Baker.
You may see 3 of those. Get that swing the first time right there. Goes first pitch slider now. I'd be surprised if he throws him anything else.
Well, there's 2 of them. I think one more might just cap off this inning.
Yeah, and I think, with a guy standing on third base right here, if you're a Rocker, you see those 2 swings, you're going to stay. It may be cutter, it may be slider, but it's going to be one of those 2 right here, just based on the approach that we've seen from Baker.
There you go. That'll do it. 5 strikeouts for Kumar.
Elevates the cutter right there. Maybe got a little bit on the outside part of the plate. Strands T.J. McCants at first base. Ole Miss.
Well, we're looking at 2 really good pitchers today. Kumar Rocker, Doug Nikhazy, and KP when it comes to pitcher of the year in this league. What are your thoughts?
Well, you can't go wrong, I tell you what. These 2 that we're seeing tonight have both been very good. It's been 2 big swings from Ole Miss that have been the difference. Nikhazy's been great. This is my guy right now. The impact that Kevin Kopps has been able to have for Arkansas when they weren't quite sure what they were going to do on the weekend. Jack Leiter we'll see again this weekend, tomorrow for Vanderbilt. But if I had to pick one, I'd pick Kopps right now because there has not been consistency in that Arkansas starting rotation. Where there has been consistency is when Kopps comes into the game. Compare the 2 tonight, both have been very good. 7 punch-outs for Nikhazy as he now works into the 5th.
And he'll face Jason Gonzalez. The 9-hole hitter for the Commodores looks at a breaking ball. Seems like we see a lot of opening breaking balls from Doug Nikhazy. Gonzalez, his first time up, struck out. We always love a good story of redemption, and I think Gonzalez is that story. And a young man that is super passionate about Vanderbilt, super passionate about Vanderbilt baseball, super passionate about being a part of this particular team. And young man left school for a year, tried to get some things back together in his world. And Tim Corbin told us, there was some tough conversations that the 2 of those had over the course of the last 18 months or so. And wasn't sure if Jason was going to come back. Knew he wanted to, but he went back home out west and decided to make a go of it when things kind of got in order. And, boy, is he glad to have him, but he goes down swinging for the 2nd time tonight.
Yeah, it's good to have him back in the lineup. It's good to have that presence there, too. And for Doug Nikhazy, he's now punched out Gonzalez twice. 2 times through this Vanderbilt order, Nikhazy struck out 8. That time on the elevated fastball. And, again, he just shows you a little bit of everything. Enrique Bradfield Jr. has seen a little bit of everything in his first 2 at-bats, and he struck out both times.
All right, so if you're Bradfield, you've struck out twice against Nikhazy. We just saw T.J. McCants lay down a perfect bunt. Do you maybe try to just sneak one by the pitcher here, try to beat one out down the line?
Yeah, potentially. Bench is in on the grass by the time the pitch is thrown. Now in a 2-0 count, maybe you take – I'll tell you the one thing, if I'm Bradfield, just based on the way that Nikhazy has gone about him, you can erase the inner half of the plate. You don't even need to think about it at this point. Yeah. Climb on top of that plate a little bit more because everything, fastball or breaking ball, has been away, away, away.
That one's up. It's now 3-0 Nikhazy has struck out 6 of the last 7 that he has faced, but in a bind here against Bradfield Jr. His first 3-0 count of the evening as he pumps a strike in there to make it 3-1. Doug up to 92 strikeouts this year. And a 3-1 pitch. Popped up, shallow center, and Chatnier making the catch. 2 down.
See the fist pump from Nikhazy right there on the fly ball?
Yeah.
3-0, gets back to 3-1 with a 3-0 fastball, and then gets Bradfield Jr. to fly out to center field. And when that ball was still in the air, another fist bump. The left-hander, and I think he realizes now the role that he has, which is clearly staff ace, and the opportunity that you had to cement that against Rocker tonight. So far, he's been outstanding.
So the switch-hitting shortstop steps into the plate. Fly out and a strikeout tonight. A little bit behind on that fastball. Well, you can see what the breaking ball does to you, right? I mean, he's throwing so many breaking balls in there. It's really screwing their mind up right now.
Yeah, he dumps that first pitch breaking ball in there and then hammers the fastball in on Carter Young's hands right there. And this is a kid that can catch up to any fastball. That one he took right out of Dunhurst's glove. Now he's in an 0-2 hole.
That is number 9, KP, for Doug Nikhazy.
2 more here in the 5th inning. Nikhazy has been outstanding. 5 scoreless for the left-hander. Ole Miss leads at 3-0.
Welcome to the weekend, everybody. Time to play some baseball.
Doesn't get any better than this.
Let's have some fun, everybody.
Wow, great baseball.
When it comes down to 9 innings, you leave it all on the field. You lose, you go home. You win, you go to Omaha.
The road to Omaha. It's where everybody meets in July, hangs out at KP's house.
Come on over.
Here's a look at our D1 baseball projections. The Nashville Regional would, at this moment in time, these change every week for the most part, but it's a good guess. Old Dominion is a 2 seed coming to Nashville. I know folks out there probably haven't paid much attention, but ODU has had some kind of season now.
Conference USA has been an outstanding league. Old Dominion right in the middle of that. Charlotte a host. There's 3 potential hosts out of Conference USA when they were announced earlier today.
So where Ole Miss might be heading down to Ruston, Louisiana Tech on these D1 baseball projections. That'd be a heck of a regional right there with Tulane and New Orleans.
Well, and Louisiana Tech thumped Ole Miss in the only game they played them this year. So they have already met once this year. Ole Miss is hoping that when that field of 64 comes out, they're on the 1 slot and hosting somebody in Oxford.
And they get the out at first base. Rocker now with number 6. Jacob Gonzalez in the top of the lineup now. Gonzalez a strikeout and a ground out. That one is out to center field. Bradfield broke back but has certainly the quickness to catch up to that. And that's a quick out, number 2. So Kumar Rocker has given up 3 hits. 2 of them left the yard. 6 strikeouts, now up to 71 pitches here in the bottom of the 5th inning. So, KP, what do you make of Kumar's start to this point?
I think he's been really good. I think he got ambushed on 2 fastballs. The other is an infield hit. That time a first pitch changeup to Gonzalez that he flies out to center field. I think Rocker's been outstanding. again, it's just the offensive approach for Ole Miss appears clear to me against Rocker. And that is, if you beat us with the off-speed stuff, we can handle that tonight. We're going to hunt fastballs. And they've run into 2 of them, and that's the difference in the game.
Chanier, after a quick meeting, will step into the batter's box. The 2-hole hitter. He's popped up. Struck out, and big swing and a miss. So he's got that little cutter that's going 87, 88. A little slider that's coming in there at 85 with a little bit more break in it. That one is out to second base. Wet had some spin on it, but Colwick handles it well. A 7-pitch inning for Kumar Rocker. This club will need to get their bats going. They're down 3. You look at our line score and a 2-run home run off the bat of T.J. McCants in the second inning. And then it was Kevin Graham with a solo shot in the third inning, and that has been all of our scoring to this point as we move to the top of the 6th inning. Doug Nikhazy back out on the mound for the Ole Miss Rebels on a gorgeous night here at Swayze Field. Magnificent setting for a top 20 matchup between the Commodores and the Rebels. And interesting that the last time they met was at the SEC Tournament Championship game, and Ole Miss actually had an 8-run advantage in that game. And Vanderbilt came back to win 11-10. On their way, of course, to Omaha and a national title back in 2019. We'll cross up there.
We'll cross him up.
Yeah.
Pretty good reaction time back there from Dunners because his entire body's jumping up, then he just shoots his glove back down right at the last minute.
The 1-1 to Keegan. Fouled straight back.
Pulled it.
Oh.
That may have been a strike. If he stays down, he may get the strike call, but he popped up right there. Probably got in the eyes a little bit of Jeremy Dupree. You're not going to get that call.
Nikhazy sitting at 9 strikeouts right now. And that one is just past Jacob Gonzalez. And that'll be a base knock, the 4th hit of the game now for Vanderbilt. And Keegan continues to roll along offensively.
Keegan has 2 of them. Rally cap, Dave. It's back. Sunday, 11 Eastern.
Be sure to catch all the action there as they'll break down the week that was in baseball, softball, highlights, analysis, and interviews. Get you set for the week ahead, including some of the best matchups as we cap off the SEC regular season, Sunday, 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Hard to believe, KP, in 9 days. I think it's 9 days, my math is right. We'll be on our way to Hoover. They're gonna let us outside of our house. They're gonna unlock the doors. We are going to Hoover.
How about that? Neighbors are going to be confused.
Or thankful, one of the two.
Yeah, well, yeah. Block party next Monday.
That is deep to center, but McCants there to make the catch. So some activity in that Ole Miss bullpen. Zach Doherty. Short outing against Texas A&M, but looked good. Hard-throwing right-hander. Pitch count up to 91 now for Nikhazy as C.J. Rodriguez steps in, 0 for 1 with a walk today. He looks at a breaking ball. draft-eligible sophomore behind the plate. Rodriguez. Carlos Rodriguez Jr. Former high school quarterback. Also played some basketball in high school. Self-describes himself as a beach bum, something that it's a term that wouldn't really describe me. It's just bum for more than likely.
Swing cut the first part off.
Yeah.
You're halfway there. 2-1 fastball that Rodriguez swings right through. We're fortunate. We've got two of the best catchers in this league out there tonight. Dunhurst, I could watch receive for days. He puts a clinic on.
Yeah, these two guys are really good. CJ's first words, you know how much he loves baseball. His first word wasn't mommy, wasn't daddy. You know what it was? Ball.
Working out all right so far.
Yeah. Said his mom was a little depressed that it wasn't mommy, right, or mom. It was ball.
Now it all makes sense.
Right. The 3-2 on the way. Baker. He'll make the catch. Out number 2.
All right, now he was called off of it, but I love the approach from Nikhazy right there. Because when that ball went up in the air, he was screaming because he wanted to catch it right away. I mean, immediately, a lot of pitchers are going to point and stand there knowing the first baseman. He's got to get called off. He goes all the way over there. Baker calls him off, but I just like the aggressiveness. Ball, I mean, since you were 5 years old, you know how to catch a pop-up. So it always drove me nuts. A little pop-up like that, and everybody's waiting to call you off on the mound. Nikhazy wanted it. Baker took it for the second out of the inning.
Throw down to second. Got him. Dominic Keegan thinks he stole the bag. He's not leaving. Scott Kennedy out there at second base.
It was interesting. It looked like Tim Corbin looked out to Keegan to say whether or not they should go down and look. The hand is clearly there at the beginning. I think the question is whether it comes off the backside of the bag. And I think that was the call by Scott Kennedy. He is safe here. Now see if he comes off. Tag's still there, tag's still there, tag's still there. I think he's safe. I mean, he came off for a minute, but at the time it looked like the left foot got back on the bag in time. I don't know if it'll be enough. It appeared the way that Scott Kennedy pointed to it, that the way he saw it was that Keegan on the slide came off the bag long enough for that tag to be applied. That was the first stolen base attempt of the season for Keegan right there.
Coach Corbin trying to create something. This club sitting on 4 hits, no runs. They've left 5.
So he's safe on the front end, that's for sure. It's just whether or not he came off and Chatagnier was able to keep that tag on there. It appeared to be the reasoning of Scott Kennedy right there. Tags there, tags there. I think he's safe, Dave. Maybe at that last minute, but did he lift the foot off instead of the foot coming off on its own? What do you got? You're quiet over there. Is he safe or out?
Well, here's my personal thought is I think he's safe. I think his left foot stayed on that bag long enough. But I don't know if there's enough to overturn the call again. Like
that's the look. It's also whether or not Chatagnier helped that left foot come off the bag or whether it came off the bag on its own. I think that's the spot where you could absolutely say, yeah, he's potentially out.
So if he ruled him safe, I don't think there's any question that we're still, you know what I mean? Like, if we went and looked at a replay of that, we would say he's safe. Right? I mean, like, we wouldn't be having this discussion this long.
I don't think so. It's just that last moment. It's the last moment as to whether or not that the left foot came off long enough, the tag was there, and if that left foot came off because Chatinier helped him.
I just think they're trying to, indisputable video evidence. Let's see what they do here. I think they're going to call him safe. I'm just going to go that way. No! How about that? And again, indisputable video evidence. I don't know that it was there. Well, that's a tough break for Vanderbilt. Looked like he was in there, but again, the original call was out, and that will stick. 3-0, Ole Miss. The Ole Miss Rebels leading 3-0 as we move to the bottom of the 6th inning. Kumar Rocker back out on the mound. Had a 7-pitch inning a moment ago. A first pitch to the right side. Colwick with a play. Oh, he made it! What a job by Tate Colwick.
I think they're happy to have him back in the lineup. Offensively, Colwick can provide a charge, but this is going a long way. First pitch changeup, Graham rolls over it. Watch the transfer. No chance, no time for Colwick to get to his feet. In one motion, lay out as far as he possibly can, transfer, make the throw from his backside. That's absolutely an SC Top 10 nominee, and he stole a base hit from Graham.
Put a star by that one for sure. That's in there for a strike. Rocker, his last 5 outs have been on 11 pitches. Hayden Dunhurst, 0 for 2.
Rest of the league tonight, Florida, Georgia tied at 3 in the 6th. Arkansas, Tennessee now tied at 5. After the line out right there from Dunhurst, South Carolina jumped over Kentucky early. They're holding on. 9-3 South Carolina in Lexington in the 5th. A&M Auburn tied at 3. Missouri leads State 2-0 in the 3rd. LSU an early 1-0 win.
Boy, some bad news out of Athens. Their stud pitcher Ryan Webb done for the year. Some arm issues again, and already missing another stud, C.J. Smith. It's just tough for the Bulldogs.
Think about the aces that have gone down in the middle of the season this year. Jaden Hill goes down early for LSU. Obviously, Gunnar Hoagland injured last week, and then you just talked about Webb. Those are 3 premier weekend arms.
Yeah. What do you there's Gunnar Hoagland watching his boys, but Jaden Hill's an interesting one. Like I think there's a great sample size for Gunnar, right? There's a really good sample size for Ryan Webb. Not a whole lot there for Jaden Hill. I'll be interested to see how that plays out.
I would agree. I think Hill goes in the first round too, like Hoagland. I just think it pushes him back in that first round, but you're right. There's a lot more to go on Hoagland than there is on Hill, just based on innings that you saw in collegiate baseball. But man, when Hill was right, it was a lethal fastball changeup combination.
Throw down to first, and that'll do it. Another quick inning. How about 7 more pitches? 14 pitches in 2 innings for Kumar Rocker. That'll work.
Pretty good night for the left-hander tonight. Doug Nikhazy, really from the jump, has been outstanding. Struck out Enrique Bradfield Jr. to start the ball game. Struck out the side in the 3rd, then 2 more in the 4th and the 5th. For Nikhazy, 9 strikeouts as he now pitches into the 7th inning. Pitch count rising at 98 pitches. There was action in that Ole Miss bullpen last inning.
Same scenario we had last week at Texas A&M. He was right around this pitch count, went out for the 7th inning, tried to get out. I think he got 2 outs before they finally pulled him, but same kind of scenario. And again, starts off a Vanderbilt hitter with a breaking ball. Isaiah Thomas, who was at the plate when Keegan was thrown out at second base, or kind of thrown out, I guess. We're still kind of 50-50.
Kind of thrown out.
Right.
Was called out.
Pitch number 100 on the way on a 2-0 count. Check swing, fouled off, 2-1. See that number. He's gone over 100 pitches in 6 of his last 7 starts. That ball was hit hard out to left field. It is out of here on a line. Number 9 for Isaiah Thomas. Touch them all, number 8.
Isaiah Thomas is an interesting guy for scouts because when you look at him, he shows you some things that people just can't do. I mean, this is a fastball up and out of the zone. Look at him pull his hands in. That is big-time strength because this ball doesn't get very high at all, but still enough to carry out to left center field. Nikhazy knows it's got a chance and watches it sail. First run that Vandy has scored today, solo home run by Thomas here in the 7th.
Now it's Tate Colwick who looks at a breaking ball in there for a strike. Thomas, the junior out of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, with some serious pop at the in the bat there. He's a former draft pick by the Rockies back in 2018. Fouled straight back. Boy, just going back thinking of Tate Colwick's play at second base last inning. That was a heck of an effort on the second baseman. How many times have we seen a ball like that throw in the dugout?
That hook just fouled on the left field line. He got it at the extension of his dive, too. I mean, it's as far as he possibly could have gone, and then not enough time to get to his feet. Just makes the throw as he's rolling onto his backside.
That's how you become a pitcher's really, really good friend, isn't it?
That's right. Yep. Tate, like you a lot more right now than I did about 5 minutes ago.
Here's the 1-2. Fastball fouled straight back. Doug's been sitting 88 to 91 with that fastball, but I haven't seen 90 or 91 here in a few pitches. Another foul ball. This pitch count now at 107. KP, you were telling me earlier there was one regional, as we talk about pitch counts, where you, over was it a 3-day period, 4-day period? You went 100 plus and 100 plus. What were the numbers on that?
2 days. 2 days of rest, came back.
That's lifted high in the air out to right field, and the catch is made there by Leatherwood. So how many pitches did you throw in that region?
So it was in the 6-team regionals. because I'm old. We played Arkansas in the first game. I went complete game, I think, through 120, and then came back on 2 days rest and threw 150 against Texas Tech. So 270 in 4 days.
Nice.
But we won, and we went to Omaha, and I wouldn't change a thing. I'll tell you that.
Now, pitch 110 is in there for a strike to Cooper Davis. So after a week like that, I mean, does your arm hurt? Is it just tired? Do you even notice it? Do you take me back to that?
It was tired. Yeah. It was tired because then we came to Omaha and I threw a complete game in an elimination game. But at least then I had like 6 days off. So, but no, my freshman year I had 10 complete games, and you just don't see that anymore. And I think it's just because of mentalities. And listen, if we had to go back and do it all over again, I think knowing what we know now, that would have been the case when I was a freshman. We would have approached it very differently. But to your point, I didn't want to come out of the game, and I can promise you Nikhazy doesn't either. I think this will be his last inning, but not if it were up to him, he wouldn't be going anywhere.
The 1-2. That one's lifted in the air. Chatinier says he has it. Wasn't lying. 2 down. Hey, tonight after Vanderbilt Ole Miss baseball, the SEC Now team will have a full breakdown of this game, plus all the highlights from a busy day on the softball and baseball diamonds. Of course, you can get the highlights of that Tennessee-Arkansas game. A lot of eyes on college baseball in Knoxville this weekend. SEC Now coming up when we are finished right here in Oxford. 2 down for Jason Gonzalez. Breaking ball stays up in the zone. Nikhazy's season high of pitches is 122. And he tossed a nice little one-hit gem complete game at Starkville, Mississippi on the road.
Not done quite yet. That'll get them on their feet. Well, how about David Kellum, longtime voice of Ole Miss Athletics, great guy, one of my favorite people, always love catching up with him, and tweeted this out earlier today. How about little Kumar? Last time we could say little Kumar, right?
Yeah.
Back in 2008, when his father, Tracy, was an assistant coach with the Ole Miss Rebels under Houston Nutt. There he is, a legend, David Kellum. But a time back in Kumar's life. Matter of fact, 08, that was a heck of a football season with Houston Nutt under leading the troops. That was the year that I think they went down to Florida, knocked off Tim Tebow and #1 Florida Gators down in the swamp. Of course, now his father, Tracy, is with the Philadelphia Eagles, the National Football League.
Father Tracy, Mom Lou, got a chance to go down and spend some time with them and with the Lighters with Kumar and Jack a few weeks ago. And it was cool because Tracy even said, he's like, I didn't really know a lot about baseball. Like I didn't really play it, but ultimately that was what Kumar wanted to focus on. He could have played Division I football. I mean, there's no doubt about it, whether it's defensive end or whether it's as a tight end, but it was baseball that ultimately he was the most drawn to. And it looks like that was a pretty darn good decision.
His mom said the minute that he started throwing, she said it was incredible. He could always throw it directly to you from the time he could first pick up a ball. Didn't matter what it was. And she said she looked at Tracy right then and said, he's going to be a pitcher. Tracy shook his head and went, no. That's the way it worked out. It's worked out pretty well.
Mama knows. 2-1 the count. He did say, he was a really, really good defensive end at North Oconee High School just outside of Athens. But he said, I just didn't see my career, my future, trying to get past 6'6", 300-pound tackles. But he could see it right here on the mound. One hops to the backstop. He did touch 99 earlier this year with one of his fastballs. Did that in Knoxville earlier this year. Leatherwood hits a gapper, scooped up there by Bradfield. And that'll be a double for Hayden Leatherwood, number 7.
The plate coverage right here by Leatherwood. Looks like a changeup, and it just is elevated enough that he can stay on it. If it's down the zone, I don't think you're going to get this swing, but instead elevated enough, Leatherwood gets the barrel out there, drives it out to right center field. Bradfield Jr. cuts it off, but not before Leatherwood standing at second base with a one-out double. By the way, did you see who threw the first pitch out in Knoxville tonight?
I did not. Give me the lowdown. Oh, okay. Let's just bring in Peyton for the big series.
Why not? We're going to sell the place out. Oh, and there's this guy that used to play quarterback here that has a decent career in the NFL. We're going to bring him back and throw out the first pitch.
Right, he's a big donor. Gave some money. We'll let him throw the first pitch out. Oh, my goodness. K.O. Baker with a couple of strikeouts tonight. John Rice Plumlee comes in as a pinch runner out at second base. And he takes off. Baker hits it high in the air out to right. Plumlee better get it back to second in a hurry. Here's the throw in from Isaiah Thomas, but Plumlee safely back. Leatherwood's double, by the way, was first non-home run hit.
He covers some ground right here. So Plumlee off and running. All right, now we hear the bat. Now we got to go all the way back. So we just about got 90 feet. Now we got to go all the way back. I thought he was maybe going to tag. He goes back and then takes 2 steps. If he tags right there, he has to run 270 feet to get 90. Just about had to.
Nice play by Rodriguez. Tell you, I mentioned it last week. I was in Ole Miss for the spring football game, and it was the day that they rallied back from that 9-1 deficit to win. And he came over, put the headset on. We interviewed him during the football game, and he was so giddy over that comeback baseball win. It was hard to even get him to talk about football. Rodriguez again taking one high off the chest protector, but. Interesting story with John Rice. Obviously he's a part of he's in this rotation, not your everyday starter, obviously, but comes in late, defensive replacement, pinch runner type situation. And talking to Lane Kiffin about his future on the football field, that's still up in the air. They're going to talk about it when the baseball season's over. Will they line him up at running back? Will they put him at wide receiver? Will he still take some snaps at quarterback? Just a lot to be determined. He's such an outstanding athlete and a great teammate. That's one thing both these coaches have talked about is just how infectious his personality is and on the football field and with his teammates there and on the diamond.
Well, and they've used him different ways, too. Scott Brown now out, the pitching coach for Vanderbilt. Clearly not a situation where he's going to take Rocker out. Maybe just wants to give him a quick breath. 2-0 count right here. Nearing 100 pitches. Double barrel action. Christian Little, the right-hander. Hugh Fisher, the left-hander, have both been up and throwing in that Vanderbilt pen.
Tim Corbin telling us when we asked him about his bullpen stuff, he was like, it's all coming together. He feels pretty good about the direction that group is heading into the postseason. A lot of good arms down there. And that might have been a gift for Kumar Rocker.
People behind home plate didn't think so. I mean, you got no reaction from them after that one.
Just sitting on their hands. Ground ball, that is stopped by Colwick. He'll get it home, and they will nail Plumlee. Colwick with another diamond gem. Not sure what Plumlee was doing, though.
He's gone glove side. This time goes right back up the middle, and this clearly saves a run. If it gets into the outfield, Plumlee's going to score easily. Instead, one hopper to C.J. Rodriguez, and they've got Plumlee at home plate. Keeps it a 2-run game.
Good look at Taylor Broadway making his 21st appearance out of that Ole Miss bullpen. You see the particulars, 43 strikeouts and 31 innings of work. And they are asking him for 6 outs to close this one out.
If he's coming in the game in the 8th inning, it's ideal day for Ole Miss. You can tell everybody else down in that bullpen to take their spikes off. Broadway's coming in to finish this one. 43 punch-outs, 31 2/3. And with the mid-90s fastball comes control, too. Just 7 walks on the season for the Ole Miss closer.
Leads the conference with 9 saves. That ranks 8th in the country. John Rice Plumlee stays in and takes over in right field for Hayden Leatherwood. He was thrown out at the plate. I almost wonder if they thought that ball got past Colwick a moment ago and sent Plumlee home as Bradfield Jr. steps in. That one's high in the air, out to left center. That'll drop in. It'll one-hop off the wall. Kevin Graham picks it up, gets it in a hurry, and that'll be an easy double for Enrique Bradfield Jr., who was probably the happiest guy to see Nikhazy call it tonight after striking out twice and popping up to second base. Don't forget, we've got some baseball coming your way this weekend. Next weekend, number 9 Florida, number 1 Arkansas begins Thursday, 7 o'clock Eastern. We'll have all 3 games for you as we have added that series late in the year. So we'll see if Arkansas can remain number 1 after their trip to Knoxville to take on the Tennessee Volunteers in a battle of the 2 top teams in the SEC based on their conference records. Here's Carter Young, the 2-hole hitter. A couple of strikeouts for Carter Young, the switch hitter, who now works out of that left side of the batter's box. And he'll look at a strike. Enrique Bradfield, look at those numbers, KP. I mean, nobody's been able to slow him down. 38 stolen bases. Clearly the front runner in that category.
Look at that middle statement on that graphic. Most stolen bases in the Tim Corbin era. He is a freshman, and it's May. It's the middle of May. I mean, he could steal, if Vanderbilt goes all the way to Omaha, Bradfield could steal 50 to 60 bags this year.
0-2 on Young, who is Not only bringing some pop, but he also strikes out. 62 times. That is the most in the SEC this year. It's crazy to think what Bradfield did. When he gets on base, it changes the whole dynamic
100%.
of the game, doesn't it?
100%. We were talking about it in the middle of the week. I don't think he will win it, but I think he belongs in the discussion for SEC Player of the Year, and here's why. On-base percentage is second in the league. It's close to 500 coming into this game. But for the point that you just made, he changes the game when he is on the base pass. And there's not that many guys in this league that do it. Plus, he's been a premier defender out in center field.
Strikeout. And a big fist pump from the catcher, Hayden Dunhurst.
Slider right here from Broadway. Exactly where you want to put it. Outside part of the play, down in a spot that Young can't handle it. Hayden Dunhurst goes out and gets it. Pumps his fist. Carter Young's gone down swinging 3 times tonight.
So now you have the 3-hole hitter, Dominic Keegan, with 9 homers. He's got a couple of hits tonight. His average is bumped up to 361. Boy, such a great 3-hole hitter. Actually caught in their midweek game. First time all year. There goes Bradfield to throw down to third. Got him!
Wait until he had the right-handed hitter. Makes it a little bit tougher for Dunhurst to throw. I think he's safe, Dave. I think he's safe. I know he's safe. I don't think this one's going to take that long to look at.
Well, it was a battle of the two best, right? Dunhurst is throwing out more runners than anybody in the SEC this year, and you've got the guy who has stolen more bases than anybody in the country this year.
You know, and what I like, and I think this is just the baseball IQ that Bradfield has when it comes to stealing bases is big time. So you don't run with a left-hander Carter Young up there right there. You wait until Keegan gets there, and then you take your chance with a right-hander. It's a little bit tougher for Dunhurst to make this throw, and that could have been the difference right there. He picked the right one to go on. It is bang, bang, but it definitely looked like that front foot got in there in time, and Bradfield Jr. stayed on the base. This is small, and I'm not saying it's a reason to not run in that spot. I would just tell you that as a pitcher, you don't worry about the base runner on third base. Overturned right there. Bradfield Jr. is in fact safe. My point is what you were saying earlier, when Bradfield is on the base pass, it changes the mentality on the mound, and it does when he's on first base and second base. But when he's standing on third base, you're not worried about him stealing home if you're going out of the stretch. And so then there's a normal cadence to home plate that I think you'll see out of Broadway right here that may get sped up when he's standing on first or second.
Boy, now you really got to rely on Dunhurst with that slider from Broadway being as good as it is.
He can really catch. He can really, really catch. Switch hitting catcher that can handle any pitching staff. He can handle velocity. He can really catch and throw. He's going to get in somebody's system, and they're going to realize real quickly what they've got.
He has been so animated. He has been every time I've seen him play this year. I mean, he is all in. One-two on the dangerous Dominic Keegan. Stays up with his own.
Backup slider right there, and we've seen guys start to use this at the big league level intentionally because right-handers are never going to swing at this thing. If they do, they don't do anything with it. Was not trying to throw it there, but just about stole a strikeout.
Got one there. Called third strike, second out of the inning.
That's where he was trying to throw it. Goes back to the breaking ball against Keegan, and this one freezes him. The last one was a backup slider. This one isn't. Dunhurst does a good job again of letting that one travel upper part of the zone. He lets it get as deep as he possibly can. Now back-to-back strikeouts for Broadway.
Now he faces Jack Bolger. Actually, they will pinch hit as they will grab a left-handed bat. Troy Lenev grabs a bat to hit. There is nobody in that Ole Miss bullpen, so Coach Bianco, who handles his pitching staff, out to discuss the situation with Broadway.
So you got Lenev, the pinch hitter right here from the left side, then C.J. Rodriguez, the catcher that you would think stays in that slot that follows him. And some of this, you're not going to intentionally walk the tying run, but some of it can just be approach against Lenev, who has had limited at-bats this season, but those that he has have been extremely productive.
A little hustle from Coach Bianco. I like it. Got to get back in there, look at his chart, call the pitches. And now Lenev will see what he can do. A .375 hitter, making his 18th appearance. He started a couple of games, but at the plate, 6 of 16. Two of those 6 hits, though, have gone yard.
5 of the 6 hits have been extra bases.
Looks at a high strike. Bradfield over at third base, bouncing around. .93. It's 1-2 now. Ground ball to the right side. Baker, underhand toss, and the Rebels get out of the inning. Bradfield is left at third. Take a look at some of the highlights today, and certainly a highlight here for the youngster T.J. McCants with a 2-run homer in the second inning. They gave Ole Miss the early lead. Kevin Graham, an inning later, would go a solo shot, and that would create the showers again. And then, well, we saw some power from Isaiah Thomas. Turns on that, gets it out over the fence, but both pitchers very effective tonight. Rocker now out of the game, but Kumar did his thing, and then Doug Nikhazy comes in, and, well, Doug had another outstanding performance as well. 10 strikeouts for Doug through 7 innings, and he left with a 3-1 lead. And just a moment ago, the Rebels got out of what could have been a dicey situation as they strand Bradfield over at third base. And here are the totals. Rocker 7 innings, 8 strikeouts, a couple of home runs allowed. Nikhazy, he also allowed a home run. But 10 strikeouts and 2 walks. Rocker threw 99 pitches, Nikhazy 117. First man up is Gonzalez. Nice play at short by Young. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that is pretty. We have seen some defense by Vanderbilt tonight. Had it positioned perfectly. Carter Young's up the middle. It gets in on the hands a little bit of Gonzalez, but watch how smooth this is.
Oh, man.
Folks, he leads them in home runs, too. Just a sophomore, and that is as good as you will see on that one. Erases what looked to be a leadoff single.
You know, the comparisons will always be there, but I just that was so Dansby Swanson-like. Wasn't even funny.
Yeah. And if that's the comparison, you're in pretty good company.
You're right.
Hugh Fisher, the left-hander, now on for Vanderbilt. On for the 10th time this season. The only thing he struggled with is command. Look at the hits. This is his 10th appearance. He's given up a hit. One the entire season. Opponents are hitting .040 against Fisher this year.
So there are the numbers for Kumar Rocker. Kumar, who leads the country in wins, on the hook for a loss here, unless there can be a rally in the ninth by the Doors. Called strike 3. Chatinier is down on strikes. Fisher, he looks really good.
He can come in and dominate. This is a kid that's going to pitch in the big leagues for me. It is lefty, can go mid, sometimes push some upper 90s, and they just don't see him. They do not see him. The only issue for Fisher is when he misfires too much and doesn't throw enough strikes, but 2 quick outs here in the 8th. By the way, Arkansas, after giving up a 5 spot in the first, has come all the way back to take the lead in the 8th. Now 6-5 Hogs in the bottom of the 8th.
I guess that'll be the last time they ask Peyton to throw out the first pitch.
You got to go ahead and look at it, too, because he went top of the mound and he let it fly. Like it wasn't one of those, hey, ceremonial, flip it in there, wave to the crowd. He was trying to throw a dart.
Two 2-0 to Graham. Make it 3-1. You know, Kevin Graham has hit that home run in the 3rd inning and blasted it right into the students for his 11th home run of the year. It gave him 44 runs batted in. And how about that? They had the huge shift on, and he just laces it right down the line and will wind up with a double. That's his 12th double of the year.
You know, I understand the idea of a shift, and it doesn't matter where they're playing. This is going to be down the line. Here's my only question with this. Is left on left with this arm angle, you're going to see more balls that way from left-handers just because they can't see it. They're late on it. Graham was right there. Does a good job of beating the shift. Takes it right down the left field line. Now 2 hits on the day for Graham. Solo home run in the 3rd. Got robbed of a single in the 6th. Now a 2-out double here in the 8th.
Now Dunhurst to step in. That is not much fun.
No.
Being a left-handed hitter against this guy, Hugh Fisher. Oh.
No. It's like when I was in spring training, we were facing Randy Johnson, and I hit left-handed. I think I've told you this story. But Davey Lopes is our manager, and I go out on the on-deck circle, and I'm swinging swinging a bat left-handed. Davey Lopes looks at me and goes, "You're left-handed?" Yeah. He goes, "Well, you're not hitting left-handed against this guy. Go up there right-handed and don't swing." And I did with my left-handed helmet and the ear flap facing the stands. It was
One of your
Quite impressive.
I was going to say one of your better moments. You see Graham out there. That's one of the things Coach Bianco said. The reason that Graham has become such a really, really good hitter is because he's learned over the last year to hit left-handers, and it was something he struggled with as a freshman. Even though he had a really good freshman year, rolls over on that one. Colwick. Defense hadn't been the problem for Vanderbilt tonight. Their bats have been a little sluggish. Just one run. They're down to their final 3 outs. Ole Miss trying to close this one out as we move to the top of the 9th inning in this top 20 matchup between the Commodores and the Rebels. It has been a well-played game. 3-1 score, 6 hits for each team. Both starting pitchers put together strong outings, but so far Doug Nikhazy in line to pick up his 7th win of the season. Another outstanding crowd on hand here at Swayze Field on what's been a gorgeous night for some good baseball. And due up here in the 9th inning, C.J. Rodriguez will lead things off, then Isaiah Thomas and Tate Colwick. 5, 6, and 7 for the Commodores against Taylor Broadway. Trying to pick up a 6-out save. Gave up that leadoff double to Enrique Bradfield Jr. to start the 8th, but got out of that with 2 strikeouts and then a ground ball. Out to second. Chatinier with a nice play.
What's Chatinier's route right here? And it looks like he's going to go deeper, and then he cuts a more direct line to first base right about now. So it makes the throw quicker, and it makes it for an easier transition over. I think he thought this ball was hit a little bit harder, then right at the last minute, he doesn't have to go quite as deep. Can go straight to the line, made a tough play, but pretty easy right there.
So 1 down, and here is Isaiah Thomas. His last at-bat. Picked up his 9th home run of the year. And he looks at a first pitch strike. I think this was a big outing for Broadway. Remember at Texas A&M, he's the one who gave up the grand slam to Will Frizzell in that game 3, which A&M won 6-5, but shouldn't hurt his feelings too bad. Frizzell hit home runs against everybody that came out there, I think, that weekend.
It was the 5th of the weekend for Frizzell. Got a lot of umpires in the stands tonight.
Looks like around 10,000 of them.
Yeah.
They haven't missed a call all night, have they?
No, they have been locked in.
Boy, what a great setting, great scene, great fan base.
Miss not being there. You could have had the opportunity to buy me dinner after this one. That would have been great. I'll let you do it in a few weeks in Hoover. Don't worry.
You got
I'll
it.
allow you to do it then.
I'm excited about some per diem, to be honest with you. It's been a while. Hey, listen, my wife, I love her, but she doesn't bring me the press box food that a lot of these places do. So it's been kind of disappointing on that end. Here's the 1-2. You know, this Vanderbilt team didn't get to play that game 3 against Alabama. You wonder in 2 weeks or, end of next week, and you wonder if that game will have any impact on the standings. Fouled off again. They got 1 inning in, and the weather came in, and they couldn't finish it. So you just wonder, if they're a game short, they could be a half game out or something of a championship.
Here's the other thing, too. Yes, obviously you're playing for a championship, but you're also playing for that buy-in Hoover. You're playing to be one of those top 4 that doesn't have to play day 1. And who knows? We'll see the way the next 2 weekends go, but that could potentially play into whether you got to play Tuesday or got to wait until Wednesday. Look at it. That ball's 10 inches outside.
Boy, he's got the handkerchief out. Been a long night for him. Been one of those nights, got to wipe the brow.
Go to the brow. We got the beat Vandy button on. Those shades. I don't know what those are.
Boy, 9th pitch of this at-bat coming to Thomas. Now it's full 3-2. Even if you serve one up, he can't beat you, right?
Nope, you can't hit a 2-run home run with nobody on base.
Boy, a little extra on that at 95 miles an hour.
Love this matchup because it's power on power. Thomas went deep his last time up and did not get all of it. In fact, didn't even really get extended. Pulled his arms all the way in, got enough to hit it out to left center field. Now has fought off some tough ones from Broadway right here and keeps it at 3-2. Not exactly trying to shorten up, put it in play right now either. That was trying to hit the 2-run home run with nobody on base, and he just missed it.
This has been a crazy at bat. 12 pitches, and how about this? 7 foul balls.
How many?
That'd be 8 foul balls.
Okay.
All right, he's pumping him in there at 95, 94 and 95. Is it time to put some spin on one?
Only if you think it's the pitch you're most comfortable throwing right here. If not, let's stick with it.
He did 95 and a Sunday hop on a Friday night, but a long throw. Did Baker get the tag? He did.
Sunday hop on a Friday night. Maybe a little bit too good of a hop right there. And the freshman Gonzalez tries to get those feet moving before he makes the throw a little bit high. The big boy goes up and gets it, slaps the tag down just in time. Taylor Broadway and Ole Miss 1 out away from winning the series opener against Vandy.
Tate Colwick will step in. That ball's hit high. It'll stay in the yard. John Rice Plumlee makes the catch, and game 1 goes to the Ole Miss Rebels.
Pretty big night for Ole Miss right here. They lost 5 of the last 6 series in the SEC. They get 7 brilliant innings from the left-hander Doug Nikhazy and a 6-out save by Taylor Broadway to beat Kumar in Vanderbilt. Game 1 of this series doesn't get any easier tomorrow. Tomorrow night you get Jack Leiter, but at least for tonight you got to be feeling really good if you're Mike Bianco, because a series win this weekend really helps solidify Ole Miss's argument to host here in a few weeks.
Yeah, tough night for Kumar Rocker. He'll suffer the loss and go to 11-2. Meanwhile, Doug Nikhazy, who gets bumped up to the Friday night edition because of the injury to Gunnar Hoagland, does his job, and he goes to 7-2. So for my partner, Kyle Peterson, the rest of our crew, I'm Dave Neal saying so long from Oxford. Ole Miss picks up game 1, the final 3-1.